Hey plant people, thank you so much for stopping by for this month's favorites video. I've got several plants today. I think it's 8 total. And this month was a very easy month for me because I didn't even have to like think about these plants. These were just my immediate picks. So I've got 8 favorites, and then I've got a couple of just like interesting, like I guess updates that I'm gonna throw in here also. I am planning on doing kind of like an updated collection walkthrough a little bit, just to where you can see some of the updates that have been going on in my collection, because I have been getting rid of some plants. I have got some new plants. I have moved things around. I've set up a bunch of new grow lights because we are trying to get things ready for this winter, this fall, when things are darker and cooler, and just make sure everyone is happy and doing good. So the first little mini update that I'm going to talk about today is my Anthurium warquianum. And this thing, let me tell you, for some reason, this is the first Anthurium that I got. Why did I do that? I don't know, because I didn't know anything about Anthuriums. And at the time, that was the one that just really caught my eye. And I thought it would be really cool to have in my collection because they have those really big, giant, beautiful leaves. Like, who doesn't want that? But warquianums are notoriously finicky, and this one has been no exception. This one drove me absolutely insane. And most recently, I've just totally, like, keep in mind that I've had this thing for like a year. And it gave me one new leaf. And I had it sitting right next to a humidifier, so I really feel like that shouldn't be the issue. Like, she was getting plenty of humidity over there, and I run that thing for a while. Even though I do grow them in ambient, I feel like her sitting right next to the humidifier was fine. But she's just been giving me issues the whole time. And then she had like a little bit of root rot, but her roots were just like not doing good. Like, they just looked funky and she was not doing anything. So I was like, you know what? I've had it with this thing. So I chopped her up and I put her in some prop cups, as I do. I did have like the secondary cup on top to increase the humidity. And let me tell you, as soon as I put this thing in here, it started pushing a new leaf, like within a day or two. It was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm assuming she just really does want super high humidity, or I wonder if maybe I just didn't transition her appropriately when I initially got her, and it just really set her up for failure. Like, the transitioning process is very important, especially if you're going from something like a grow tent or a prop box or something, which is what I thought that she was in, into ambient humidity, which is what I do, even though I do have the humidifier running, you know. But anyways, so the reason this is very curious is not only did she immediately give me this like perfect little beautiful leaf, she has sport variegation on this. Like, what? What is your deal, sister? Because I don't know how well you can see that because it's kind of like a minimal, like right here. Let me see if I can get it. Like right here in front of my finger. I was very surprised because I'm like, you literally have given me nothing but problems since I've had you. And then the first leaf you give me has this sport variegation on it. How weird. And like, don't get me wrong, this is very exciting and interesting to see. But I do very much believe this to be a one-off thing. Like, this is not going to continue. I'm very certain that with as difficult and problematic as she enjoys being, this is probably, honestly, she's probably just being like vindictive, and she's like doing this to get my hopes up that she's decided to be variegated, and then it's never going to happen again. Like, I'm very, very sure that that is going to be the case. So we'll see what happens with this little lady, and if we can start getting along, and if she can get her stuff together, or if this is just going to be a failure once I transition it out of this cup. We will see. The second mini update that I wanted to give you is for my Anthurium luxurians, which has finally sprouted back from dying all the way back to the chonk. And this is very exciting. Like, I'm very pleased with the coloration on this one because it's very dark. For whatever reason, you'll see on this other one that I'm about to show you, like, it just ended up being way more silver on that one. Like, I don't know what the deal is with that. Luxurians are very confusing to me because I see, especially when they're in this kind of like juvenile state, Some of them like pull a lot more silver than others. It's a very strange thing that I've noticed, and I don't know why that is. I do tend to see them maybe like grow out of it when they start getting bigger, because most of the big ones that I see are just kind of like this really dark green rather than being that still kind of like silver color. But I just think that's kind of bizarre, and I really like the darker color over the silver. But the reason, this is the one that's in the update. So the reason I bring this up is this thing's like going off in this cup. So this is the original chunk that it came on, and the other one was an offshoot off of that chunk. And I separated that one off because I didn't know if the chunk was like still good, because it was like really big in there, and it didn't look great, you know, like it looked a little funky. It wasn't just like super bright green. So I put it in a different cup, and it sprouted like a bazillion growth points in here. I almost want to pull this out, but you can see, so these are all individual leaves from the separate growth points. And these are all, I don't know how much is going to pick up on the camera, but these are all very silvery, especially in comparison to the other one, which is a little bizarre because they all came from the same chunk, but the roots are just like cracking me up. Do you see all those crazy roots in there from all these growth points? Is that not crazy? You can see, like, even from this distance, all these little hairy roots just exploding everywhere. And when I first, like, I have these in the bottom of this like shelving unit that I keep all of my little baby anthuriums in, and they're all in cups in there, and they're not always like at the forefront of my brain. Like, I don't always think about them. And when I went over there and I checked on this and I saw all those roots, I was like, what? Like, this, it did not do anything for at least a year and a half. And then I go over there one day and I'm like going through my little seedlings that I have. And this has, you can't even, you're not even gonna be able to see all the growth points on the camera. But this is like, it looks like the tissue culture thing when they just like explode. But I know this is not a tissue culture. Like, it's growing directly from the chunk. But I just thought that was fun. And we'll see what happens with all these little baby growth points. Also, how cute are these leaves? Like, they're so round. That is so funny. I wonder if it's because they're just like kind of like stuck in this cup, but they're so round. That's so funny. So we'll see. We'll give this one a little more time, and that'll be an oncoming update. Okay, y'all, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the favorites now. My first favorite, these are as always in no particular order because it is impossible for me to pick like one specific favorite or even like order these, because like I'm so wishy-washy with what I prefer from time to time. But this one is one that has really been making me so happy, and it's my Epipremnum Albo variegated. And this is one that I had originally got as a plant that had like 2 vines, and all the leaves died off of it as soon as I had gotten it. So I cut it back to wet sticks, and they sat in my prop box for a really long time and didn't really do anything. And then they finally started shooting out some little baby leaves, and the leaves looked so good. Like, you can kind of see in the bottom here, like some of those initial baby leaves. But I was so surprised because the variegation on the new leaves that grew was like 1,000,000 times better than the original plant that I had gotten. So I had potted those up in one of my plant shorts videos. I can't remember which one, but I potted them up and I put them on this little pole, and the leaves that are coming out of this are absolutely gorgeous. Like, I cannot believe how incredible this variegation is looking. And originally I was like not really into getting this plant. Like, a lot of people had this plant and they really liked it, and I thought the variegation was pretty, but I was like, Epipremnum, pothos, like, I'm just not really into that genus. But I really love these elongated kind of like spear-like leaves. And this variegation, like, look at this leaf right here. How gorgeous is that? Like, that is just like obscenely beautiful variegation on that leaf. And even the ones, like some of these over here, Like the variegation is so pretty. And I just love, I think maybe it's also like the combination of this pot. You know, some of the variegation is kind of like creamy rather than being really like starkly white. And I think it looks just like really nice in this kind of like tannish taupe pot. And then that really angular, like the longer leaf shape. So pretty. And it's really nice. The pricing on this has been coming down significantly. So if this is a plant that you've really admired, like it was kind of expensive at one point, but if this is a plant that you've kind of admired, that pricing is really coming down. Like you could probably get one for pretty reasonable now or pretty soon. And it is starting to kind of like climb this pole and root into that pole. So I'm so excited when this one gets bigger and starts getting those fenestrations. Like that is going to be stunning. Next up, we have a philodendron, and this is a philodendron that I never liked. Like, I did not like this at all when I initially saw it, and it's because I don't really always, which I feel like, okay, so I feel like I'm liking the minty variegation more than I used to, but I used to be very, like, it was not my thing. I did not like that very, like, speckly, minty variegation, but I found this at Kroger for, well, actually my mom got it for me from Kroger for $8, and it is the Philodendron Snowdrift. So again, this is one, like you can see how minty that variegation is on like these leaves here. But I really liked this one because it also had the sectoral variegation over here, and then on that leaf, that one looks really good too. But yeah, so I found this at Kroger for $8, and I've seen them there for $5 as well. So if you have a Kroger in your area and you like this, or you've even like admired the Philodendron Snowdrift and you've been considering getting one, you can find, they had still like 10 or 15 of these in clearance last time I went, which was like, oh, actually, no, I'm lying. I went yesterday to get some pumpkins for my fall decor out in front of my door, and I always check the clearance section over there because they do have some like cute little plants over there marked down sometimes, and they still had these over there. Like when I initially went with my mom, there were like 10 or 15 of them over there, and they were $8, and then they still have like, I feel like there were still like 8 or 9 of them there yesterday, and I didn't check the pricing because I already got this one, so I wasn't like interested in getting another one. But they were either $8 or $5 because those are normally like the 2 price points that I see them at. But that is like a really good deal for this cute little plant. And it, let me tell you, it is so happy now like to be out of that dark Kroger corner, the clearance corner. I have it hanging in my little like window shelf, and it is just happy as a clam over there, and it's looking so cute. And I really like it. Like I'm just really surprised by how much I like this one. I find that I really like this pink in the middle, especially in contrast with this like very light, it's not like super minty, like it goes from this kind of like white cream variegation to more of a minty variegation. But it is so pretty when it comes out, and it has that very pink, like you can see the pink there, and then the pink in the veining of the leaves too, which is so pretty. Also, this is very similar to the Philodendron Whippleway, and the Philodendron Whippleway used to be ultra expensive, but it's another one that's coming down in pricing. But if you really like that plant, this is like a good dupe for that one because the variegation is so similar, and it still has that very pink central like veining, especially on these new leaves, and the pink caterpillars that are growing in the stem. The stem is a bit pink at the top as well. So this one, so cute. Highly recommend if you have a Kroger in your area to go check this out. Okay, so I've got a few Hoya that have made the cut this month as my favorites, and I'm gonna go ahead and do those like all together right now. The first one is my Hoya Pulchra, and I've had, oh, she's dusty. I've had her for a little while, and I just recently repot her, and I was just like, I kept her in her little like tiny cup that she came in for so long because I had, like, when I first got into Hoyas, it was very confusing to me, like the soil mix that they really like, that they would do well in. And I got burned a couple of times where I lost some Hoya because I did a bad soil mix, which is notoriously on brand for me. But I feel like I've like figured it out a little bit, and I repot her and she finally gave me a new leaf. So these were her previous leaves. I love this one because the leaves are so dark on the front. Hopefully you can still see this with the lighting. Like these dark plants are kind of hard to show sometimes. But you can see how like long and dark the leaves are. But also the back turns this like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get dirt everywhere. If you can see in there, it's like purple on the back. And it has that green vein in the middle. It's so pretty. But she hadn't really done anything for a while. She was doing the Hoya thing where she like shot out a tendril, but she wasn't putting out any leaves on there. And she finally gave me a leaf. And while it is a little wonky shaped, it is so gorgeous. Like, look at how dark that is. That's crazy. And it is like, it's not like a black. It's like a super dark plum. Like a super dark plum purple. And it's just so beautiful. I switched out the upper lights on my Hoya shelf back here to the Barina lights. And I put the little, like the lights that weren't as strong into the IKEA Acrobar cabinet. I may have mentioned this already. But these Barina lights are starting to sun stress some of my Hoya, which is so exciting because I'm about to show you another one too that is starting to get like a little bit sun stressed. And it is just so pretty. Like that's part of why this one is so dark, is because that light is so bright. It's making it sun stress a little bit because this one has been out for quite a while. So that emergent color definitely would have faded by now. But gorge. And then of course the backs. The purple and the green vein is not as prominent on the newer leaves, which is funny because I feel like normally the coloration is more vibrant on new leaves, but it's really just not as prominent on those as it is on these older leaves. Like that is so gorge. But yes, so that is a very exciting update for this one. And then this is the other one that is sun stressing a little bit. This is so exciting. So this is another one that I've repotted also recently. And this is my Hoya Dennisii Frida, which is like the variegated version of that. And I loved, as soon as I saw this Hoya, I just totally fell in love with it because the texture on the leaves is so beautiful. And it looks so like delicate with that variegation. Oh my gosh, come on, focus. Like it is just so pretty. Let me see if I can get one of these older leaves where you can see but you can see that veining too. Like the texture and the veining in combination with the variegation, just absolutely gorgeous. And gosh, I don't even know which leaves to show you. You can see a little bit more if this will focus on the, why do you not want to focus? Like, wow, that is so beautiful. Hopefully you can see the texture on the leaves a little bit in that like veination. The leaves on this one are a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more difficult to see. But the emergent leaves often have a little bit of pink on them. Like you can see on this one how that one does have a bit of that like rosy tone to it. But when they sun stress, they turn, wow, this like very bright, it's not a hot pink, it's like a rosy pink still, which is like the color pink that I'm very partial to. But also the stem is pink, and then that inner variegation turns that super bright like rosy pink color with sun stress. Can we see that maybe? Yes, no, I don't know. But yeah, so she has been so cutesy and she has been growing so much. Like you can see this big runner. I need to like wrap that back around this trellis. But I'm so excited for this one. I'm probably gonna propagate this one before too long so I can get some more vines in there because that is gonna be so exciting. The last Hoya that I'm gonna talk about is my Hoya Sarawak. Is that what this is? Yeah, the Sarawak. And this is the one with the cream flowers. And I actually got this in the same unboxing that I did on one of my previous videos with another one that I'm about to talk about that is not a Hoya. And she had done nothing forever. I'm fairly certain that she had flat mite. So I've literally just been like treating her periodically every now and then. And she's just been so slow to grow. Like she has not wanted to do anything. And while her older leaves were still looking okay, like they weren't really declining or anything, she's recently started to grow again. And look at these leaves she's been giving me. Like look at the size of this thing. Oh my gosh. And it's so dark. It is like when they come out and they're new, as they're hardening off, they are darker than what they harden off to. Oh, I can't show you this other leaf's trying to steal the spotlight. But gosh, look at how big that thing is. That's nuts. And then she put out another really big one down here. And also, she's been shooting out some little like offshoots. Like there's one right here at the bottom. And she's got 2 new leaves coming in down there too. Can you see that right here? So this is the little, what is that? The tendril. And then she's got 2 leaves coming off of that. So she's putting out 2 more leaves at the bottom. Like I'm literally gonna have to move her somewhere by herself because she's gonna be too big to fit on that shelf with anyone else before too long because these leaves are getting so big. But I'm so happy that she's growing again and she's finally looking like healthy. All of her new leaves look so healthy and shiny. And even the backs, like there's no edema or anything on the backs. So that is just really lovely. And I love, she's actually pretty splashy too, I feel. Like she's got some really cute freckles, you know. Love to see it. Okay, this one is one that is a relatively new plant that I put on this poll in a recent plant chores video. And I have somehow found a way to bring it up, I think in every video since then, because I am just in love with this. Like I cannot, this is my Scindapsus Jade Aurea variegated. And this plant is so beautiful. I have never been into Scindapsus. And this plant has just drove me wild for Scindapsus. Like I've gotten a few new Scindapsus too that you'll see like when I do that collection walkthrough update, whatever. But this one, I'm just like breathless, like totally taken away with this one. Like look at that variegation. That is unreal. It's really unreal. And just, it's so happy and it's so easy. Like once you get Scindapsus established on a pole, especially this one, the variegation is just unbelievable. And it's so healthy. There's like no browning, no crisping. It lays so nicely against this pole. Like the growth is just so beautiful. And this variegation is just, it's truly unbelievable. Like this is just a plant that just really wows you. You know, you're like, wow, Mother Nature is really doing her thing. Like, how is this real? How is this just a real way that a plant grows? Like with this color, that is crazy. And I really like this leaf right here, like this variegation in the corner, how it's kind of muted and there's all those layers. And I love the way they feel too. They feel kind of leathery, but they have kind of like a soft touch leather. It's not like super slick. But yeah, like if you like Aurea variegation, even if you're not a Scindapsus person, like 100 of 10 recommend this plant. Put it on a pole. The leaves size up so fast. They lay so nicely. And it is just like truly one of the most beautiful plants in my collection. This one is not like, as far as variegated, like uncommon plants go, especially Scindapsus, I feel like are kind of popular right now. This one is still relatively reasonably priced, or you can find it for pretty reasonably priced, like on Etsy and places like that. But yeah, so this one is one that you will probably continue to hear about from me frequently because it is just always on my mind right now. Last two on the list are both Anthurium. So we're circling back to Anthurium again. you know, I'm going to talk about Anthurium all the time because it's my favorite genus. So here we are with 2 Anthurium favorites for this month. The first one, I don't even know, like, this thing's so dark. I don't even know how this is going to pick up on camera. This is my Anthurium. So they call this Anthurium Liberty, which is a cross between Dark Phoenix and Darkest Panama. But I had a really bad experience with the seller on this one, and it was like in atrocious condition when I got it initially. So I honestly, like, I don't feel 100% confident that that's what this is. Like, it could be anything. And honestly, like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep calling it that because I don't really know what else it could be. If you have any input on that, feel free to leave it in the comments. But look at how dark. This is its most recent leaf. So there are technically 2 plants in here. We have this little offshoot. I don't even know if I can show you this leaf because that big leaf's getting in the way. But we have this little offshoot down here, and that's its newest leaf, which is still really beautiful. But this is like the main plant's most recent leaf. And again, like, this thing, I'm just awestruck. I'm genuinely awestruck. I actually moved this so that I could see it. Like, when I look into my plant area, I can just see it sitting there because it is just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's so dark. Like, you can see, obviously, the camera just, I feel like it never does it justice, but you can see how, like, black it is. And the veining in the middle, what the heck? Like, it is like neon green and orange. It is the most wild thing that I've ever seen. Like, obviously, if you follow Anthurium people or you see like Anthurium videos, Anthurium Instagrams, TikToks, whatever, like, I see this coloration in the veining, but to see it in real life, especially on your own plant, is just like, it's really like shocking, truly. But this is kind of like, it's kind of like neon green in the center. And as the veins loop over, they fade to orange. This, like, kind of like, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a tropical orange. I don't know. It makes me think of like mango. I know that's like not like a good description or like useful description at all, but truly that's what it makes me think of. But wow, that veining, incredible. The darkness of the leaf, the velvetyness, incredible. And it has, which I feel like is definitely not going to show up on camera, but even when the leaves come out, they have this shift that's kind of like purple to blue to green. And it is it's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Honestly, I cannot find the like adequate descriptors to explain how beautiful and incredible this plant is to you. So while it was in really bad shape when I got it, I saw the potential, you know, like, I just knew it was going to be a really stunning one. So yeah, we'll see. This was the first leaf that it gave me, which is very large. So hopefully it'll continue to size up. I would love for this one to be one of the ones that gets like super duper big with these like those lobes too. Beautiful. And I love how like kind of like wavy the leaf shape is. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that next leaf looks like. I potted it when I got it into this really big pot because its root system was really good, even though the plant was like not in good condition. And I put this like secondary pot collar or whatever on it because the chunk was so big. And we're seeing some healthy roots kind of like popping up in here. So hopefully that next leaf will continue to size up. Okay, we have reached the last plant on the list, the grand finale. This is one that I got, this is the one that I was talking about that I got in the same unboxing that I did the Hoya Sarawak with. And it is my Anthurium Queen of Hearts. Look at this leaf. Oh, let me get that crusty one out of the way. That's kind of anticlimactic. What if this was my finale? This leaf right here, that would be... Y'all would be questioning my choices for sure if you don't already. But look at this new leaf. Holy moly. Unbelievable. So see, when I got this plant, if you've been eyeballing this plant, if you've been considering getting an Anthurium, I'm telling you, this is the plant for you. If you like dark leaves, this is the one for you. It really is. So when I got this plant, it had a few leaves. Like, okay, so listen, the problem initially was not the plant, it was me, because I had that whole soil dilemma happening. She got root rot, so she was really struggling for a really long time. She lost the leaves that she came with, except for this one remaining. Yeah, we're not gonna even go into describing that. But that was all she had left. And when I first got her, she was like you could see the new leaf kind of like just poking out of the caterpillar, like you knew it was about to come out. And when the leaf came out, it looked great. However, between the combination of root rot and me having this in a terrible place where I kept running into it, that leaf that came out after I got it just got super beat up. However, you will notice that this leaf is still like black. Well, I guess that's not a good description. Again, this is like, it's got a lot of like that plum tone to it. And you can see like, okay, so on the back of this emergent leaf, you can see how it's kind of like purple, that like purpley fuchsia dark color. And then the front is more of like a super dark plum black color. But this is still that same dark color. This leaf has been out. When did I do that unboxing? Let me check. Okay, so I uploaded that video, that unboxing, on March 7th. It has been almost 7 months. 7 months. And this leaf is still that pitch black dark color, and the veining still has that kind of like pinkish coloration. That is so crazy to me, because normally, you know, when Anthurium put emergents out, like I feel like if they stay that color for like a month, like that's a good run. Like a month or so is a good run for an emergent leaf to keep its kind of like cool coloration. 7 months this thing has been this dark. That is impossible. It feels impossible, truly. But anyway, so, and even after they fade to green, like they look super cool, and like the veining, you can see in that it still has that like really light veining that stands out for that green leaf. This is just like a bad example, but again, that is not her fault. She is doing a great job. That was my fault, so please do not judge. But this new leaf, perfect. Chef's kiss, perfect leaf. I have her, of course, out of the way now where I'm not running into her. And this is the first leaf that she's given me, which she's taken her sweet time putting this out, but I really don't blame her. She's been through some stuff, you know. But this is the first leaf that she's given me, and it is absolutely perfect. And you can see that like leathery texture and the pink veination, that dark black plum color of the leaves, the fuchsia back. And then of course, just the size, the sheer size of this thing. Like, she's absolutely massive. Massive. Yeah, I genuinely just cannot recommend this plant enough. And to me, like, keep in mind, Anthurium tend to be kind of like expensive anyways. But I feel like I've seen this out now where you can get a smaller, it's like less than $100 for a decent size plant, which is just, for what it is and what it can turn into, is just crazy to me. Like, I feel like this is well worth that price, because you get so much enjoyment out of it through the long-lasting coloration, how quickly it sizes up. Also, she's very easygoing. You can see on this leaf, even though this has been through root rot and she's like beat up and stuff, like it has not crisped up at all at the bottom, which is like something to be seen, because Anthurium, if you breathe on them the wrong way, they're going to crisp up for a lot of them. But I just can't get over it. So y'all, if this is a plant that you're really interested in and you're looking to invest that money in one like this, I just feel like this one is one that will really bring you a lot of enjoyment. All right, y'all, that is all I have for you for this month's favorites video. If you got some favorites that you feel like people aren't really talking about as much as they should, please leave them in the comments so that I can look those up, other people can look those up, and we can broaden our knowledge of plants that are out there for us to enjoy. I appreciate y'all so, so much. I do have some cool videos coming up. I'm looking at I've really got to do a plant chores video where I mount those staghorn ferns. I did go to Goodwill and I got a couple of pieces of wood to get those mounted on. So I've just got to actually do it. Like, I've got the supplies ready to do it. I've just got to get it done. So I'm probably going to throw that in with a plant chores video if there are like some other things that I want to get done with that. Also, I want to do my collection kind of like update walkthrough so you can see what's going on with everybody. And if you like this video, you want to see more content like this from me, please like, please subscribe. It means so much to me. It helps me out so, so much. It helps my channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.